You've probably seen the meme, the post, what have you, someplace. Who are you really? Describe yourself without using your name or any attributes given to you by society, and really think deep down, who are you? It is the stupidest question in the world. You are nothing if you're not what society gives you. And I know people are like, oh, you're only what society is and society makes you who you are. And yes, that's exactly what it is. People don't want you to say your gender doesn't matter. What you look like doesn't matter. Who you are in relationship to other people doesn't matter. What your occupation is, what you spend all your time doing doesn't matter. Any of your choices don't matter. So what are you without all of these things? You're, a sack of skin? No, that still describes you. You're made of stardust. Maybe they want you to say, something along that lines. But who you are is who you are in relation to everything that goes on around you. That's who you are. So when I think of who I am, I'm first and foremost, I'm a mother. I have a little boy who worships the ground I walk on. I am everything to him. That's who I am. I am a mother. I want to say I am a daughter. I guess I was a daughter. Both my parents are now gone. But that again is who I am. I was an adult when my parents passed away. But technically, I guess that would make me sort of an orphan, not in the sense of a child who loses a parent. Trust me, I get it that it's different. My child has lost a father. There's a big difference. But that's who I am in relation to other people. I am a sister. I have a brother. I have a certain relationship with him that because of that relationship, I have become a person who thinks, does, understands, knows things, and everything else. I am a teacher. I homeschool my son. I teach other homeschoolers online. This is something that I do. It's what I spend a good chunk of my life doing, between the homeschooling my child, creating classes, creating curriculum, doing whatever it is, either for myself, for my own child, or for my online classes or live classes, depending on how I'm teaching other homeschoolers. I'm a Catholic. That's a huge part of who I am. How I relate to other people, how I relate to the universe and the world and God and everything else. That is who I am. So to describe yourself based on nothing is really what you're asking. Describe yourself based on absolutely nothing. Don't tell us about what you're good at. Don't tell us about what you like. Don't tell us about what the time you spend doing whatever it is you're doing. Just tell us about who you are really. I remember I used to love the show Charmed. You've probably at least all heard of it. The original one, not the weird remake craziness. The one with Shannon Doherty and Alyssa Milano and Holly Marie Combs and eventually Rose McGowan. Now, don't get me wrong, I have a lot of respect for Rose McGowan with her Me Too movement, and she called out a lot of people and did a lot of things, and I think that's wonderful. But that is part of who she is, because these things happen to her. That is part of who she is. But my point more about the show was her character. When we first met her character, Paige, I think, she was a social worker. That says a lot about who she was. She was orphaned, right before she graduated high school or whatever, right after, something like that. And she said how when she wrote her letter to get into college, it was a huge part of why she got into college, because it changed everything about the way she thought, what she did, everything. It's what made her become a social worker in the first place. And then, they got bored with that storyline, so they changed her. They decided to move her into something else, and she started doing temp work. And it worked with her witchery, what have you. And so she, every place she went, there was a new witch case or something that came up, and that's fine. I get it was a moving story plot thing. But then it started to become, she needed to find who she was. And the only way to find who she was to like abandon everything she did as she went along. That whole like looking inward. You're not going to find anything inward. There's nothing inward that is going to tell you who you are unless you're exposed to things that are outward. That's how you know who you are. So it's how you relate to other people. It's how you relate to other circumstances that tells you who you are. So when I first found out I was pregnant, and I was so excited and I was elated, and all of a sudden I realized I was going to be a mother, that how I react to that tells me who I am. When I first found my father dead, and how I related to that, how I acted, how this all created who I am. When I take a job, if I like it, if I don't like it, how do I deal with not liking it? There's been jobs I've just walked out on because the boss was so ridiculous. You're just like, yeah, all right, bye-bye. And then there's other jobs that, you really create a connection with people, and it's hard to leave even though it's the best thing for you. I've done party, event coordinating, event planning stuff, and worked in catering and all kinds of things. And I've done customer service all through college, and I've done telemarketing through college. I worked my first job out. I was a young girl. What did I know out of high school? I worked telemarketing and a dating service. That was literally a thing, because I didn't know anything. And I would go to jobs and it was like, and then I found one that, I can talk to people about their like dating life. Sure. I'm an 18-year-old girl. I can talk on the phone about who you want to date. That seems like an easy thing to do. And I did well. I was there for years until I decided to go back to school and changed my mind and did all different kinds of things. I was into marketing. I was pre-law. I changed my mind a bunch of times finding who I was. But all the time, the only way to do that was to go out and relate yourself to society. See what society had to offer and decide what you did and didn't like about it. People have this thing about how society, in any capacity, is wrong, is bad, is I don't like the statement says, who are you when society doesn't tell you who you are? Society is life. Like that. That's what's like, if you have to say what is life, it's how people relate to one another. It's how people get on with their life, with their world. How they choose to spend their time, who they choose to spend their time with, what they choose to believe, what they choose to do for recreations, what they choose to do for job. That is your life. People, talk about at the end of life and the things that they think about, and their life flashes before their eyes and everything like that. Do you think that when their life flashes before their eyes, it's them sitting there meditating, trying to decide, who am I and what is this all about and what am I without society? Or do you think that they see their parents, their siblings, their kids, their friends, their jobs, their life experiences? And that's what society is. And I feel like, I know feelings don't matter, whatever, but they do. So I feel like people have put such an effort into trying to be different, trying to stand out, trying to be something that's not what everybody else is, that they're forgetting what life is, just if that makes any sense. We live in a society where everybody's online all the time, posting everything about themselves and constantly thinking about themselves and constantly trying to get likes and constantly trying to get shares. And Instagram is full of just people putting what they eat, what they did, what they do, what they talk about, what they think, the pictures of them from this angle, the pictures of them in this outfit, the pictures of them in front of, people have died to get the best picture of them in front of, oh, look at me, I can hang over the Grand Canyon by a shoestring. How? Don't, no, you can't. You're dead now. And you know what? That picture didn't get posted because, unless it was live, in which case that's really bad. But not the point. And I think I've talked about this before. If you watch any of my old stuff, there was an old George Carlin bit where he talks about like magazines, newspapers. And, there used to be one that was called, I think it's still around, like Time. And then it was like, it was like World. And then it's like, Us. And he said, someday it's just going to be me. Everything is just me. You're going to flip through it. It's just going to be pictures of me. And that's literally what Facebook, Instagram, and all the other things are. Now, I'm not going to say that I don't partake. Obviously, I'm of the generation that started it all. I had MySpace, Friendster, the whole thing. And when I go on, I like to see pictures of my friends and their families and see how things are progressing. It's kind of like, instead of getting the Christmas card that people used to get every year where you get the little update, the little newsletter that sometimes used to come. Now you get to keep up with people and what they're doing on whatever social media platform. I'm a Gen Xer, so I'm still in the Facebook world. Sorry. So, and I put pictures up of my kid, and I put pictures up of what we're doing and vacations and what have you. Of course, I keep it private to just family and friends only. I don't publish it for the world to see. But I also get my news from there. And when I go on Facebook, not only do I like to see what other people are doing, I like to, like I said, check out the news, see what's going on outside of my little bubble. I check out news from every different type of person. I check out what other people are posting about news to see what they're thinking. It's not just about whatever is in your head, and people are in their heads so much. It's like, it's crazy. I have this one friend. She's always been like neurotic. And, nothing, if you went to her house for a barbecue that started at 1, she was mad that you wanted to leave at like 9 o'clock at night because you were there for 8 hours and you're exhausted. And she's like, but it's so early, stay. And you're like, but it's early if we were going out at night and starting at 9, but it's not early for you've been here since 1. And she took it as like a personal slight against her. And it was this, and I was like, dude, seriously, this is not how people think. And, everyone's always so concerned about what everybody's thinking about them. And I told her one time, and I've told other people this, you know how you're obsessing about what everyone's thinking about you? And they're like, yeah. That's what everybody else is doing. Nobody is thinking about you because they're too busy thinking about themselves. And that's what this post reminds me of. It's like, don't think about what everybody else, how you relate to the world, how you fit in, how you can help even. It's not a matter of, you could be a doctor, and you could be saving people's life every day. And that says a lot about who you are. And yet this post, don't tell me about what society thinks you are. Don't tell me about your occupation. Don't tell me about your position in life. Tell me about who you really are. It's like, who I really am is all of those things. I don't know. I think people need to get out of their own heads or get their heads out of their, might be a better way to say it. And they have to start looking around at society and what's actually happening in the real world of society and how they relate to it and how they might be able to make things better if they stop concentrating so much on themselves. A lot of people, they have kids, and now their kids are just an extension of themselves. They're not even their own person. It's like they're carrying a handbag, and they want to design this person to be whatever they want them to look like, whatever they want them to be, whatever it is. It's like they're so obsessed with their own image of, again, not what society tells them they are, of what they want to be. It's like wanting to be a millionaire, but not wanting to do any work. It's like, but society can't tell me that I can't be a millionaire. No, society can't. If you want to do the work and you want to create a business or make a great work of art, a actual physical art, or songs or books, or what people make millions of dollars all different kinds of way. Create a business, create a new medicine, whatever. Sure, you could become a millionaire, but you can't just say, I want to be, so therefore I am. This isn't a magic show. I don't know. I just feel like people don't understand. They don't understand what society is anymore. They don't understand how to make a society work. You have to work with society, if that makes any sense. Like, you can't just be a bunch of individuals doing your own thing. You have to be incorporating in with other people and seeing how you fit in with those other people, and not just saying, oh, they don't agree with me, so I'm not even good. They're not like the Wicked Witch of the West. Be done with you. That's what Glinda said. Be done with you. Poof, that type of thing. Like, you can't just do that. Everybody has a place in society, and that's good. That's what people should want. People should want a place in societies. People should want to see what attributes they have that can help society, that can contribute to society. They should want to be able to give back to society, to raise good children, to take care of their parents. I mean, I have a friend whose mom's in the hospital, and for 6 months, 7 months, I've been going every week, sometimes more, over Christmas in different places, to take care of her, because she's a lovely woman and I like taking care of her. But not one of her children have gone to visit. Not one of her grandchildren have gone to visit. And most of these children, I mean, her daughter lives in Florida and it's a little complicated and everything else, but one of them lives right next door, 10 minutes away. It's never come to visit. The grandkids never came to visit. And these are the same children who are of their, they went to school, they went to college for, one of them started in social work and ended up going with a different direction. They've gone for helping people and going in, and I think one of them is a speech pathologist for children, and they're all about, oh, I need to help people. They're of that generation of like, oh, I'm such a good person because look at how much I help people, and they protest in the street and they do all these things. I'm like, really? Because your grandmother's been in the hospital for 7 months and you haven't once gone to look at her. Oh, well, yeah. Well, I'm busy. I'm too busy doing other things. I can't possibly think of how I relate to society, to my grandmother, to anything else. I feel bad for these people. I really do. They're not gaining the connections. My grandmother, when she was the most lovely woman you would ever meet, never had a bad thing to say about her. She was also hilarious in her own way. And I do admit I regret not going to see her often enough. I went when I could. We took her in when we could. I lived with her for a little while. I was very young, and I wish I had seen her more often. But I did my best to go and see her. And I feel like people don't have that anymore. They don't care. They're so in their own brains about everything. Nobody wants to have children. Nobody wants to take care of their parents. It's like their parents should still be taking care of. They're like 40 and they're like, oh, my parents should still be taking care of me. You're like, what? No, you should. They're old now. Go take care of them. Like, that's how a society is run. I don't know. I think people need to stop thinking that there's something waiting for them. People are miserable nowadays because they're waiting for like that. I don't want to say like that moment. Like, we all grew up with the Cinderella movies and those types of things where like your prince comes and you're told, like, you're waiting for that moment where you're told that like you're really the superhero, that you're really, you're swapped at birth and you're really the princess. Like those little stories people used to tell each other when they were mad at their parents. Like, they never outgrew that, and they're waiting to be told that they're the special ones, and that they don't have to relate to those peons like the rest of the world. It's really weird, and they're missing out on everything that matters. And then everyone wonders why they're all so depressed and on drugs. All right, I will do another thing on drugs later, because that's a big thing in society right now. But for now, that's all. Like, subscribe, whatever. This is all new to me. I know I've been doing it for a while, but I'm still new to this. All right, bye.